Tyler Maddox stood beneath a flower-covered altar, waiting to marry the love of his life, Claire Bennett. Moments later, he exposed her secret affair with his best man, Noah Grant, in front of a stunned crowd. Within 24 hours, one would be dead, one would vanish, and the truth would unravel in a way no one saw coming. Tyler Maddox and Claire Bennett were the couple everyone admired. They met at a friend's birthday party in Boston and became inseparable almost immediately. Claire, with her bright smile and effortless charm, had a way of lighting up every room she walked into. Tyler was quieter, intelligent, measured, and steady. Their differences balanced each other out. Within a year, Tyler proposed during a weekend getaway, and Claire said yes. From that moment, the wedding planning began, and everything seemed perfect on the surface. The ceremony was set for June 18th at a picturesque vineyard in Maine, surrounded by rolling hills and tall trees. The venue was carefully chosen by Claire for its elegance and tranquility. She had picked every detail with care, from the ivory table linens to the soft golden lights that would wrap around the trees during the evening reception. Everyone expected the wedding to be flawless, but while the decorations were beautiful and the sun was shining, Tyler carried a storm inside him. For weeks leading up to the ceremony, Tyler had been quietly piecing things together. He'd noticed changes in Claire's behavior: nights when she claimed to be working late, sudden guardedness with her phone, and a nervous edge in her voice when she talked about his best friend, Noah Grant. Tyler had known Noah since high school. He was charismatic, funny, and had always been a loyal friend, or so Tyler believed. The thought of betrayal didn't hit him all at once. It built slowly, detail by detail, until suspicion turned into certainty. Tyler didn't confront Claire. Instead, he started digging. He checked her cloud backups and found deleted messages. He traced receipts for hotels and saw Noah's name on one of the guest records. He even recognized the outfit Claire was wearing in one of the security stills, an outfit she'd claimed was for a work conference. The final proof came when he hacked into an old shared drive and found photos of Claire and Noah together, holding hands, kissing, laughing in places Tyler had never been. Rather than call off the wedding, Tyler made a chilling decision. He planned to expose everything publicly. He transferred the images and videos to a USB drive, carefully naming each file with the date and location. He rehearsed how the moment would unfold. When the officiant called for the vows, Tyler would interrupt, not with words, but with evidence. On the day of the wedding, everything was picture perfect. Guests arrived dressed in summer suits and flowing gowns. Photographers snapped candid shots as Claire walked down the aisle. Her white dress shimmered under the afternoon sun. Tyler stood at the altar with a calm face that hid the fury within. When the moment came, he reached into his pocket, pulled out the USB, and handed it to the DJ. Within seconds, the screen behind them flickered to life. The footage played. A hush fell over the crowd. Images of Claire and Noah filled the screen. Guests stared in disbelief. Claire's mouth opened in shock. Noah looked as if he had been punched. The wedding dissolved into panic. Chairs toppled, people shouted, and the carefully curated dream collapsed in front of everyone. Tyler stood motionless. The ceremony was over. The truth was out, and within an hour, one of them would be dead. The aftermath of the ceremony was pure chaos. Guests rushed out of their seats, stunned and disoriented, unsure if they had just witnessed a staged prank or something tragically real. Some tried to console Claire, who stood motionless near the altar, her face drained of color. Others turned on Noah, who stumbled backward through the crowd, trying to escape the piercing eyes of friends and family. The music had stopped, but the sound of whispers, gasps, and arguments filled the air. The reception area was abandoned. Plates of untouched food sat cooling on tables. The wedding cake, an intricate three-tier display of ivory frosting and gold flakes, remained untouched. Decorations, once admired for their elegance, now looked ridiculous against the backdrop of betrayal. Tyler had disappeared. He left the vineyard without a word, his suit jacket left hanging on the back of a chair. No one saw him again that day. Claire's parents were furious, both at Tyler for the public humiliation and at their daughter for the affair. They tried to escort her to a car, but she refused. Instead, she wandered to the edge of the vineyard, clutching her dress as if it were the last thing holding her together. Eventually, she left with Noah, the two of them driving away in his car, ignoring the crowd that parted silently to let them pass. The gossip started immediately. Some guests began uploading snippets of the screen recording, and within hours, the footage was circulating on social media. By nightfall, local news outlets were picking up the story, a wedding scandal that ended in chaos. Tyler's decision to expose the affair publicly was debated endlessly. Some called it cruel. Others said Claire and Noah got exactly what they deserved. Back at Noah's apartment, things were tense. Claire hadn't spoken much since they left the vineyard. She stared out the window as Noah paced the living room. Neither of them had a plan. The guilt was starting to show. What they thought had been a private affair was now a public disaster. Every message, every photo, every lie was now being analyzed by strangers online. Tyler, meanwhile, sat alone in his car by the shoreline just outside town. The sun had gone down, and the waves crashed softly against the rocks. He didn't move for hours, no phone calls, no texts. Just the ocean and silence. He replayed the events in his head, every reaction, every face in the crowd. He didn't cry. He didn't speak. He just sat with the crushing weight of betrayal and the knowledge that what came next could not be undone. By the next morning, things took a deadly turn. Noah's roommate returned from a weekend trip to find the apartment door unlocked. Inside, the living room was a mess. Pillows overturned, a chair on its side, and Noah's body on the floor, strangled with the cord of a laptop charger. Claire was gone. Her phone was turned off, and no one had seen her since the wedding. Panic spread as the question shifted from why to who. The discovery of Noah's body sent a shockwave through the small Maine town. What had started as a scandalous wedding incident had now become a murder investigation. Police sealed off the apartment and began processing the scene. Noah had been strangled, and the medical examiner confirmed the time of death was somewhere between 11 p.m. and 2 a.m., just hours after he and Claire left the ruined ceremony. There were no signs of forced entry. The door was unlocked, and nothing had been stolen. It looked personal, deliberate, and controlled. Investigators turned to the two most obvious people connected to the crime, Claire and Tyler. Claire was missing, and Tyler had already humiliated both her and Noah in front of dozens of witnesses. Police brought Tyler in for questioning the next morning. He didn't resist. Calm and cooperative, he answered every question. He admitted he had left the venue and spent the entire night sitting in his car by the beach. Surveillance footage from a nearby gas station showed him buying a bottle of water and filling up his car shortly after leaving the wedding. Security cameras from the coastal road captured his vehicle parked alone for several hours. His alibi held up. His car's GPS data matched his story. The time of death didn't line up with when he had last been in proximity to Noah. Tyler was cleared as a suspect, at least for the moment. The focus shifted fully to Claire, who had now been missing for over 24 hours. Claire's family told detectives that she hadn't come home after the ceremony. She hadn't called or texted anyone, and her phone had been turned off since the previous night. Friends tried reaching her on social media with no response. The last confirmed sighting of her was on traffic camera footage, showing her in Noah's car as they exited the vineyard together. After that, the trail went cold. Detectives reviewed video from gas stations and toll booths across the region, but the car never appeared again. That's when a local fisherman made a call that would change everything. While pulling lobster traps near a private dock on the edge of town, he spotted the outline of a submerged vehicle beneath the water. Police arrived and pulled the car from the bay. It was Noah's. The front windshield was cracked, and inside the vehicle in the passenger seat was Claire Bennett. She was still wearing her wedding dress. Her seatbelt was fastened, her hands rested on her lap, and her eyes were closed. In her hand was a waterproof bag containing a handwritten letter. There were no signs of physical trauma. The cause of death was drowning. The water had filled the car slowly, giving Claire time to write. The letter was sealed and addressed simply, "To the truth." The discovery shifted the case again. What at first looked like a love triangle gone wrong now appeared to be more complicated. Detectives had to determine whether Claire had killed Noah in self-defense, rage, or something else entirely, and why she chose to end her own life instead of running. The answers lay in the words of the letter. The letter found in Claire's hand was the final piece of a grim puzzle. Written in neat, deliberate handwriting, it revealed the emotional unraveling of a woman caught between guilt, fear, and consequence. Investigators read through the note carefully, using it to reconstruct the final moments of the tragic chain of events. Claire's confession began with an apology, not just to Tyler, but to her parents, Noah's family, and everyone who had believed in her. She described how the affair began, admitting it had been a reckless mistake. At first, it was excitement, a distraction. Noah had been there when Tyler wasn't, she wrote, and the attention was intoxicating. But as things went on, it changed. The thrill faded and was replaced by anxiety. Claire confessed she had tried to end things with Noah before the wedding. She claimed he wouldn't accept it. He insisted they were meant to be together, and when she told him it was over for good, he became distant, sometimes manipulative. She began to feel afraid but didn't tell anyone. In the letter, Claire wrote that she had planned to go through with the wedding anyway, believing that once married, the affair would be behind her. But Tyler's reveal destroyed that hope. She said she felt stripped bare in front of everyone she loved. After the ceremony fell apart, Noah took her to his apartment. She wrote that he was calm at first, saying they could escape it all and start fresh somewhere else. But when she said she wanted to go home, he became angry. An argument broke out. Claire claimed Noah blocked the door, refusing to let her leave. She wrote that she tried to get around him, that she pleaded with him to understand it was over. According to her note, things got physical. She reached for anything she could find. Her hand landed on the cord of his laptop charger. In the struggle, she wrapped it around his neck. She described how it felt like it happened in seconds. His body going still, the silence that followed, and the terror that consumed her afterward. She didn't know what to do. Her instincts told her to run. She grabbed his car keys and drove aimlessly until she reached the dock where they'd once gone on a date months before. It was there she decided she couldn't live with the guilt, the shame, or the irreversible damage. In her final lines, Claire wrote that she never wanted anyone to die. She said she didn't even know if what she did was self-defense or panic. All she knew was that she had ruined multiple lives, and the only way to end it was to disappear with the truth in hand. Authorities matched Claire's fingerprints to the cord used in Noah's strangulation, and her timeline lined up with the physical evidence in the apartment. No foul play was suspected in her own death. It was ruled a suicide. With the letter as her last statement, the case was officially closed. But for those left behind, the emotional scars would never fully heal. The days following the final revelations were filled with silence and disbelief. The small coastal town, once known for its peaceful charm, became a place marked by tragedy. The story of the wedding that turned into a double death spread beyond local news, capturing national attention. People were fascinated by the unraveling of what had seemed like a perfect couple. What started as gossip turned into widespread speculation and judgment. Social media was flooded with opinions, some blaming Claire, others blaming Noah, and many questioning Tyler's role in the chaos. The vineyard where the ceremony took place became a symbol of heartbreak. Bookings were canceled, and eventually the owners shut it down. No one wanted to celebrate in the same place where lives had publicly fallen apart. It sat abandoned, the once beautiful decor left to weather in the wind. Locals would sometimes drive past, slow down, and stare, reminded of the day when everything shattered. Tyler vanished from public view after the funeral services. He didn't speak at either memorial. At Claire's, he stood in the back, head down, not making eye contact with anyone. At Noah's, he didn't show up at all. Not long after, Tyler resigned from his job, sold his house, and moved out of state without telling many people where he was going. Friends who had once been close said he barely answered messages. He deleted his social media accounts and changed his number. To those who knew him, it was as if he had decided to disappear in his own way. Claire's parents struggled to accept what had happened. They released a brief public statement expressing sorrow for the lives lost and asked for privacy. Some people in the community whispered behind their backs, wondering what they knew or didn't know about the affair. Rumors followed them everywhere. They eventually moved as well, leaving behind their family home and trying to outrun the shadow their daughter's actions had left behind. Noah's family was more outspoken. They blamed Claire for their son's death, rejecting the idea that what happened was self-defense. They said Noah had flaws, but insisted he never would have hurt anyone. They filed a civil suit against Claire's estate, a move many considered symbolic since there was nothing to gain. But for them, it was about setting a record, declaring their version of the truth in a courtroom if nowhere else. The footage of the wedding reveal continued to circulate online, becoming a viral video watched millions of times. Content creators used it in breakdowns and reaction videos. True crime forums debated every detail. Some sympathized with Tyler's actions, calling it a powerful statement of betrayal. Others questioned whether such a public exposure had pushed events into a deadly spiral. What was clear to everyone was that the story no longer belonged to the people who lived it. It had become public property, replayed endlessly for entertainment and judgment. What remained was a painful lesson. A wedding that had promised love and a future instead delivered secrets, violence, and loss. 3 lives were destroyed that day, one by betrayal, one by guilt, and one by grief.